Hello, sports fans, and welcome to the Scott Sports 101 Thursday Night Football Recap. So, since we didn't get to do a post-game show, you'll get one next Thursday. But, a pregame show, you get that next Thursday. And since the game is over, we'll just call it a recap show, and we'll break down the game as the Colts won in overtime 12-9. And I'll tell you who I had picked to win this game, and we'll go over all that. But first, here's today's Scott Sports 101 Thursday Night Football Week 5 trivia question. And it's a Colts trivia question. How many touchdowns did Peyton Manning throw? I will have the answer later in the podcast. Right now, the Indianapolis Colts moments ago beat the Denver Broncos 12-9 in overtime. And boy, this was kind of an interesting game, and it was kind of a game of field goals tonight. But let's recap the game. First quarter, the Indianapolis Colts went 3-and-out and had to punt after 3 plays and 8 yards. And then the Denver Broncos got to 4th and 12 at the Colts 15, and McManus kicked a 33-yard field goal, and it was good, and it was 3-0 Broncos. And Indianapolis went 3-0 and had to punt again after 4 plays and 24 yards. And then Denver went 3-0 and had to punt after 3 plays and 4 yards. Indianapolis again had to punt after going 3-0, 3 plays and 1 yard. And the Broncos had to punt again after going 3 plays, 3-0, 3 plays and 5 yards. And then the Colts had to punt again after going 3-0, 3 plays and minus 11 yards. And then near the end of the first quarter, Denver got to 4th and 5 at the Indy 26. McManus kicked a 44-yard field goal, and it was good. And it was 6-0 Broncos at the end of the first quarter. In the second quarter, In the second quarter, the Colts had an interception. And that happened at 2nd and 10 at the Denver 24. Matt Ryan passed short middle intended for Granson, intercepted by Sturms at the Denver 15. To the Denver 38 for 23 yards, and the Broncos got the ball back. They went 3-and-out and had to punt after 4 plays and 13 yards. And then the Colts got 4th and 28 at the Denver 33. Chase McLaughlin kicked a 52-yard field goal, and it was good, and it was 6-3. And it was 6-3, and then it got to where Wilson had to kneel. There were the penalty and the kickoff play, and there was Chase McLaughlin kicks off kicked 65 yards from the Indy 35 to the end zone. It was a touchback, penalty on Indianapolis, speed offside on free kick 5 yards and forced at the Indy 35, no play. And he's kicked out. Chase McLaughlin kicked 77 yards from the Indy 30 to the Denver 7. Washington, to the Denver 10 for 17 yards, and Flowers fumbles, and then Flowers recovers at the Denver 13. Russell Wilson kneels, and it was 6-3 at halftime. Third quarter. Denver went 3-0, had to punt after 4 plays and 11 yards, and then the Colts got to, once again, 4th and 11 they got to this time. Chase McLaughlin kicked a 51-yard field goal, and it was good, and it was. And the Broncos and Colts were tied at 6. Then the Broncos got to 4th and 16 at the Indianapolis 16. I think it was Brian McManus kicked a 34-yard field goal, but it was blocked, and the holder was Waitman and got it. And then so the Colts got the ball back because of that blocked field goal, and then the Colts had an interception, and it was and it was 3rd and 15 at the Indianapolis 19. Matt Ryan's pass short, middle intended for Pittman, for Mike Pittman, and it was intercepted by Stearns at the Indianapolis 29. Stearns into the Indianapolis 27 for the 2 yards, and so that means the Broncos got the ball back, and they got to 4th and 10 at the Indianapolis 27. Brian McManus kicked a 45-yard field goal, and this time it was good. And it was 9-6 Denver. Indianapolis had the 3 and out and had to punt after 3 plays and 4 yards, and then the Broncos had the ball back, and then they intercepted. And it was a 3rd and 13 at the Indianapolis 35. Russell Wilson pass deep left, intended for Hamler, intercepted by, I think it was Rob Thomas at the Indianapolis 4. Rob Thomas to the Indianapolis 39 for 35 yards, and Jerry Jeudy, the Indianapolis and Indy's kicker, I think it was Pay was injured during that play. There was one of the Colts got injured. And it was 9-6 at the end of the 3rd quarter. In the 4th quarter, the Colts had to punt up to 5 yards and 6 yards going 3 and out. Denver went 3 and out and had to punt up to 3 plays and 8 yards. And then Indianapolis had to punt again after 3 plays and 5 yards. And then the Broncos had the ball and they intercepted. And it was a 3rd and 4 at the Indianapolis 33. Russell Wilson pass deep middle intended for Cleveland. I think it was for Cleveland. Yeah, to Cleveland. It was intended for him. Intercepted by Gilmore. Gilmore at the Indianapolis 5. I think it was Steve Gilmore at the Indianapolis 5 for a touchback. And then the Colts got the ball back. And the Colts got to 4th and 6 at the Denver 13. Chase McLaughlin kicked a 31-yard field goal, and it was good. And the Broncos and Colts are tied at 9. Come on, sucker. And Chase McLaughlin kicks off for 65 yards from the Indy 35 to the end zone for a touchback. And then Denver had a 1st and 10. Russell Wilson nears to Denver for -1 yard. And that was the end of regulation. So to overtime we go. And the Colts got the ball. Denver elected to receive the ball. Colts got to 4th and 3 at the Denver 30. Chase McLaughlin kicked a 40-yard field goal. It was good. And it was 12-9. 9 Colts. And then the Colts had I think it was downs, a turnover on downs. It was 4th and goal. Actually, they had a 3rd and goal, and then it was I think Melvin Gordon, left guard to Indianapolis 5 for 1 yard. And then it was 4th and goal, Indianapolis 5. And then Russell Wilson passed incomplete short to the middle for, I think it was CJ or Chris Sutton, and there was no gain. And nonetheless, that's going to do. And nonetheless, the Colts win in overtime by the final score of 12-9. It was a night of field goals. Not one touchdown was scored by either the Colts or the Broncos. And I feel this was not an impressive game by either team tonight. But I got to give the game balls to the Colts. Matt Ryan, 26 of 41 carries and attempts, 251 yards, 2 interceptions. Deion Jackson, I'll call him Deion Jackson, 13 attempts, 62 yards, and Alec Pierce, 8 receptions, 81 yards. And I think, Melvin Gordon is the one I mentioned for that one play. And then Cortland Sutton, excuse me, it was Cortland Sutton. That's my dad. And this was really one of those games where things could have gone either way. Yeah, Michael Pittman was the one I mentioned for that one Colts play. And, Chase McLaughlin, that's the one I mentioned who was kicking the field goals, and I wanted to make sure that was the right name. And, Stephon Gilmore. I said Steve Gilmore, but Stephon Gilmore, but that's okay. And, it was Melvin Gordon. That's the one but he had some big numbers tonight, too, so I want to give him a game ball as well. And it was Montrell Washington. That's who I meant. I said M. Washington. I didn't know what it was, but it was. And it was KJ Hamler. That's who I meant. I forgot that name. And it was Tyree Cleveland. Tyree Cleveland. That's who it was. I was for that final play, and that's what I wanted to figure out. But this was just one of those games where not one touchdown was scored. And right now, I got to reveal the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 Thursday Night Football Week 5 trivia question. How many touchdowns did Peyton Manning throw? And if you said 27, you are correct. Manning took the Colts to a 12-4 record, throwing 27 touchdowns and 4,002 passing yards, and he threw 12 interceptions. And he was good when the Colts had him. And then, he went on to play with Denver and won a 2 Super Bowls with them. I'll have another trivia question on my next podcast, which will be on Scott Sports 101 NFL Football Sunday, which I will be live at the Murphy House, the home of my really good friends, Matt and Katie Murphy. And my special guest will be none other than my really good friend, Matt Murphy. So look for that on Sunday, and we'll break down the Browns game. We'll do all the rest of the picks of the week, and we'll break down all the games for you. So looking at that, we'll have the early games, and I'll have the post-game show then when I come back later for the early games and the late games pre-game show. So look for that. And Sunday Night Football pre-game, post-game, and Monday night. So look for that. I took Denver for this game, and so did my brother-in-law, Eric Hoyle, and we both lost on that one. And you'll get the rest of the picks on Sunday, but I'm going to give you the game we have for next Thursday night. I'll give it to you. And that's for week 6. And it will be the Washington Commanders will travel to Soldier Field to take on the Chicago Bears next week. Now for the rest of the games, I'll give you a few of them. Actually, I don't have time. We're out of time. So, till we see you for Sunday for the Browns-Chargers game, always remember, be a team player each and every day and every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.